This is truly becoming the "we told you so" presidency. Donald Trump made some promises, yet then he broke them immediately. And what's crazy about it all is the actions, the destruction of our government, the horrible executive orders that Donald Trump has passed, his work with Doge to rip our bureaucracy apart is falling mostly on MAGA, hurting mostly red states and affecting mostly Trump voters. And one specific example shows just how bad it is, because a voter voted for Donald Trump 3 times, just got fired by him and Doge, and is absolutely furious. And of course, regretting their vote. And we are going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into this, actually, I'm gonna be frank. Pretty funny story about a MAGA voter getting their just desserts. I want to hear about one of the other ridiculous ways Doge is screwing our government. And a clip from Rachel Maddow right here.
NBC News reporting tonight that the Trump administration accidentally, totally didn't mean to fire the people working on bird flu. No idea how that happened. Now the bird flu experts at USDA, they are trying to hire them back. They did this with the National Nuclear Security Administration as well, which we talked about on last night's show. Now it's with the bird flu workers. Oops. What does this button do? Does anybody know what this button does? I thought I should ask because just a minute ago I just pushed it. Does anybody know what it does? Got any other buttons I can push? The Washington Post reports tonight that the Trump administration is considering a plan to incinerate $500 million worth of COVID tests that you've already paid for. It's not because there's anything wrong with these COVID tests. It's just because, I guess, COVID tests, icky. $500 million worth of perfectly good COVID tests that we, the taxpayers, already purchased. They are in storage. They are stockpiled right now, set to be distributed for free to the American people in the event of another big uptick in COVID. But instead, the Trump administration apparently wants to destroy them because, government efficiency. The Trump administration just today fired more than 10% of the staff at the National Science Foundation. National Science Foundation was founded in 1950 to promote science and engineering and work on U.S. defense and public health. National Science Foundation provides a quarter of the federal support that goes for basic research at America's colleges and universities. It's how we fund astronomy observatories. It is how we fund our research stations in Antarctica. Trump just today fired a huge proportion of their workforce.
Are we serious? Firing the bird flu people? And what's so, obviously it's scary, it's sad, it's dangerous, but what's so funny, because we have to talk about what's funny here, is that they're trying to hire these people back. It's not like they got caught and then they try to hire them back. They get caught trying to hire them back. They realized without any press attention that they made the mistake. And they've done that again and again. Maybe instead of mass firings that then require you to try to track these people down, because another thing is, after they fire these people, for some reason, they delete their email accounts, and so they don't have their contact information, and so they literally cannot find these people, some of the most important experts in our government. They're morons. Maybe stop mass firing people. Maybe stop being so stupid. It's not just me saying it, it's a Trump voter as well. And I want to get into that here. Trump supporter fired amid Doge layoffs begs president for her job back. A federal employee who voted for President Donald Trump took to social media to beg for their job back after being fired in a recent round of layoffs determined by the Department of Government Efficiency. In a post on Facebook, the employee said that they had been let go as part of Doge's termination of dozens of probationary employees last week. The woman tagged Trump as well as First Lady Melania Trump, saying she voted for him 3 times. Each time I voted for you, it was because I knew you'd make the right decisions and you'd fix the wrong ones. I'm counting on you to make this right too. I'm pleading with you to reinstate my employment and give me my job back. The Trump supporter, whose full name was removed by social media users, said they were coming up on 16 years working with the federal government, but had been a probationary employee at the time of the layoffs because they had recently transferred from working at the Department of Homeland Security to the Department of Agriculture. My termination letter said I was being let go for performance reasons. I know that's not true. I'm an excellent employee. Others proceeded to make fun of the person for tagging Trump in their post, saying that the way they spoke to him made it sound like they were in a cult or staying with an abusive partner. The government employs 5 million people and 4,999,999 of them are slackers. Wait, why am I getting fired? One user mocked the post. Several government agencies were ordered to lay off their probationary employees Thursday, although the exact number of employees affected remains unclear. I really don't know what to say. Like, I don't like this. Of course, people shouldn't be fired from jobs that they need to stay alive, that they're doing well. But for MAGA, it's just like, we have to laugh at it. Like, it's a little funny. Let's be real. It is a little funny. It's a little funny that they are getting what they deserve. And it is an important distinction made in that article about probationary workers that I really want everyone to be informed about. So probationary workers are people who have not yet worked in the government for a full year, full calendar year, right? But that doesn't mean that you haven't worked in government for a year. It means in your specific job. So if you were the, associate director of X, and then you get promoted to the director of X, right? You haven't been in that position for a year. If you've only been the director for 6 months, they can fire you because you don't have civil service protections yet, or if you've moved departments, if you've changed your job. So these are people who aren't just fresh to the government. These are people who have been there like this voter for 16 years that are getting kicked out, that are getting fired. Some of the most senior, some of the most trusted, some of the most intelligent, well, not this Trump voter clearly, but people we have in the government. It is crazy. It is insane stuff. This is what I continue to say. Doge does not know what they're doing. Let's stop pretending like they do. They're just doing whatever Elon Musk wants, and it seems like that's what the rest of Donald Trump's cabinet nominees are doing as well, as we can see from Senator Chris Murphy grilling Donald Trump's labor secretary about whether or not they'd get in the way of Elon Musk's conflict of interest.
Murphy. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve and coming before this committee. I think Senator Murray's questions were really important regarding the security of data and sensitive information at the Department of Labor. And so I just want to drill down and maybe make a finer point here. Elon Musk is right now the subject of several OSHA investigations. Multiple companies are subject of multiple investigations. His rocket company has an injury rate that's about 9 times higher than the industry average. I heard you say that you're going to protect data privacy, but let me just ask once again the very specific question. Will you commit to denying access to Elon Musk or any of his representatives to information about labor violations at OSHA or any other information about labor violation investigations at the Department of Labor?
Thank you, Senator. On this same issue, committing to the privacy. Again, I know that for most listening to this, it seems as though when we're trying to answer these questions, but I have not been in these conversations, as I'm not confirmed. I only see what has happened possibly on the news and so forth. The president has the executive power to have his coalition of advisors and determine what's best for the American people. He made a promise to the American people that he was going to do these things and check into what is happening. Other than that, I have not been read in on any of this. And if confirmed, I commit to taking a deeper look and working with your office and any other office on this issue. But at this point, again,
this one feels pretty simple, right? I mean, this is an individual who owns companies that have existing investigations. Mm-hmm. He has a direct interest in getting information about the seriousness of those investigations. He has interest in getting information about investigations against his competitors. It seems like a pretty simple commitment to make to say, I am not going to give any private company exclusive access to information about open investigations against them or their competitors. I mean, why can't you just make that commitment to us?
Well, again, the president has the executive power to exercise it as he sees fit. I am not the President of the United States. I work for the President of the United States if confirmed, and I will serve at the pleasure of the President on this issue. Again, I have not been into the Department of Labor, and so I will commit to working with your office. I'll commit to coming back as soon as if confirmed, and I'm in the Department of Labor, coming back and answering those questions to this committee wholeheartedly. I will commit to that.
You have the ability to disagree with the president. You certainly serve at his pleasure, but that doesn't mean that you have to take actions that you believe to be unethical. If the president asks you to give access to information to benefit a friend of his who has pending investigations, you wouldn't say no?
Well, the president, I think in building his team, a formidable team, to determine that, I don't think is expecting yes men and women. We are going to be advisors to the president, and I would talk to the president. But on this issue, I'm not an attorney. I would certainly consult with the Department of Labor solicitors. I would certainly consult with the White House and their attorneys. But until I am confirmed and in the Department of Labor, I would not be able to say specific to this without having the full picture before that.
I don't think you need to be an attorney to understand that giving access to a company to sensitive data about labor violations at their company or to competitors' companies is deeply unethical. Let me ask you another question. Both SpaceX and Amazon have filed suits against the NLRB contesting its constitutionality. It's a pretty extreme argument saying that the NLRB is actually unconstitutional. I know you were asked earlier about the firing of one of the members. Do you believe that the NLRB is constitutional?
I believe the NLRB definitely has its authority, and I respect that authority. I know you mentioned, or I mentioned, that I'm not an attorney. That being said, it looks like the courts are dealing with that. But what I respect is the fact that it is separate, independent agency, and I think it has a role to play, and I respect that. And as the Department of Labor Secretary, if confirmed, I will take that very seriously.
But do you believe that it's constitutional?
Yeah, I believe that
you can answer that question real fast.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely believe that the NLRB is an important agency, independent. And I will work with the NLRB as we, have very different jurisdictions, but we often overlap. And
it is really just a whole government built around Elon, isn't it, at this point? It's crazy. It is very clear who the president is. We're not doing co-president anymore. He is the president. He is in charge. He is running the show, and he's running the show into the ground. And we're going to keep calling that out on this show. A show not getting run into the ground. Let's hope. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.